The Death Ship by Shane Lawrence. Taro, what are you doing? Come on, the ship's about to leave port, a tall, grizzly-looking deckhand named Colton said. If you miss it, we won't be back for another 6 months. They were in the Italian trading outpost of Caffa, and it was in the autumn of 1346. They had just been attacked by the Mongols, who were attempting to take over the trading post when they mysteriously died. Obviously shaking up, the people of the outpost lives were going back to normal, which of course meant the travel of trading ships back to Italy. Okay, I'm coming. Geez, calm down, Colton replied Taro. Taro and Colton are the best of friends, and had only been in the trading town for about 6 months, waiting so they could help take the ship back home to Italy. Walking out of the house they had been sharing for the past 6 months, they headed toward port, where they would be leaving Caffa and entering the open water once again. Colton and Taro were just deckhands who helped make sure the ship sailed smoothly and kept it running. After a few minutes of walking, they arrived at the port, where they arrived just in time to get to manning their position before the ship set sail back to Italy. Little did anyone know the extra passengers they had knowingly let onto the ship. At the third day at sea, Taro and Colton woke up to the shouts of "Storm! Storm! All hands on deck!" and ran up to the deck to see what was going on. The storm was massive, with 40-foot waves crashing on into the deck and deckhands running everywhere to keep things tethered down and to keep sails taut in the wind so they could hopefully ride it out in somewhat the same direction they want to go. Grinning to each other, Taro and Colton ran onto the deck to help the crew's efforts in keeping the ship sailing. Over 4 hours later, they finally sailed out of the storm in somewhat the right direction, and wearily, Taro and Colton stumbled into their bunks and fell asleep. Things had been sailing smoothly for the ship for about a month after the storm that blew them off course, a fact all the people on the ship were grudgingly coming to terms with. But when the 1 month of the journey hit, the passenger, no one was aware of, finally decided to come out of the shadows. One of the deckhands had come down with some sort of sickness. He was having weird black bumps growing out of his body. "What's wrong with you?" the chief deckhand asked him. "You haven't been showing up to any of your positions lately or even getting out of your bed." The deckhand didn't respond. In fact, he was looking unusually still. "Come on, man, wake up!" the chief deckhand said, punching him in the arm. The bump on his arm exploded, getting blood and pus all over the chief's face. "Throw him overboard. He's gone. We don't want him getting the rest of us infected." The others who were present picked up the body and went to throw him overboard. Neither Colton or Taro were present, though. They were on the deck manning the sails on the overnight shift. The next morning, Taro and Colton heard the news, though. The whole crew was pretty shaken up, but their lives went back to normal, or however normal one's life could get on a trading ship. Over the next few days, however, things were going to get very, very worse. The next morning, the captain reported something smelling horrible coming out of his room that woke him up in the middle of the night. When the wall plank was peeled off the wall, in between the two walls were a pile of dead, decaying rats, which of course were thrown overboard the second they were found, but not before all the flies that were swarming around the rats were released onto the ship. Over the course of the day, all the deckhands who threw its body overboard came down with the same sickness as him. But all the chief deckhand had was a horrible cough and was extremely tired. So he ordered him and the other sick deckhands into the infirmary, basically a place where they would keep all the supplies for wounds, burns, and other things like that. Over the next 4 days, the only time the chief had those sick seen by other crew members was for delivering food, but somehow the sickness spread to all the deckhands except for Taro and Colton. The next day, the original 5 who were in the infirmary were dead, and the captain of the ship ordered everyone who even smelled sick into the infirmary, and for all the healthy people to stay above deck and only go below deck for short periods of time. "I can't believe all of them are dead," Colton told Taro. "Yeah, me either. But we better stay above deck if you don't want to end up like the others in the infirmary, because once you get there, you ain't coming back out," Taro replied. "Also, we're going to have to work overtime up here keeping the ship running because we're the only healthy deckhands left on this ship." "Yeah, I know. Lucky for us, though, we only have another 2 weeks or so until we reach port. The captain has decided it's too dangerous to stay on the ship until we reach Rome. We were stopping in Messina because we already had to bypass the port of Constantinople due to the storm," explained Colton. The captain's plan seemed to stop the plague from moving around for a few days, and the lives sort of went back to normal. Most people up top sort of didn't think about other people, or based off what they knew about the sickness, bodies down in the infirmary. But when everyone was thinking the sickness was gone, it emerged back up to the deck, striking almost everyone with fits of coughing and spitting up blood. In fact, the only 2 people who weren't yet infected was the captain and Colton and Taro. Only about 5 days away from the port, the unthinkable happened. The captain was struck with the plague and died. The only 2 people left alive, Taro and Colton, had a decision to make: to keep pushing forward and find a doctor, or to just give up. Of course, there's only one sure answer: to keep moving forward. By now, there was no doubt that they were both infected by the sickness, and with the port in sight, Colton felt the ground started convulsing. "Colton, are you okay? Colton! Colton!" yelled Taro, but to no avail. Colton didn't answer. He was dead. Standing up with a new determination in his eyes to get on land before he died, he stood at the wheel, just staring and willing the ship into the port. It was a normal day in the Italian port of Messina. Well, it was until I saw a crazy-looking young man steer a ship right into the pier and come stumbling off the trading boat onto the land, where he looked around with a smile on his face until he crumpled to the ground dead. The people rushed to the scene on the boat, shocked to find dead bodies everywhere. Quickly, the port officials tried to get the boat off to the pier, realizing there was something extremely wrong with the boat, and they did, just not quick enough. The Black Death had completed its journey to Europe and was ready to wreak havoc there too.